Okay, so planet 3, I'll go ahead and remove right now. Now, sun, planet assembly, the sun gear has this little stepped area, and it faces up. It fits around and sits on the little shoulder inside the E-clutch assembly. Okay, so here's the planet and sun gear, and there's no bearing that sits between this and this CDF clutch assembly. Okay, there's no bearing here. I guess it's aluminum. They figure the lubrication there. I guess it's okay. Well, all this transmission is made of aluminum. I'm going to go ahead now and separate the CDF from planets A and B. Here's planet A, assembly. Here's planet B, and this slides out. Okay. Keep the sun gear. Planet B, the sun gear, it doesn't matter which direction. It's non-directional. It's not a directional fit. It doesn't matter which direction it goes. Okay. This is a magnetic strip as for one of the sensors. I think it's the turbine shaft speed sensor, because this is splined to this turbine shaft right here. Okay, so this is always rotating the same speed as my transmission input shaft. So planet B, the planetary setup has this little magnetic strip, and that magnetic strip resides just inside the shell over here. It actually gets picked up through the aluminum shell for that speed sensor. Kind of fascinating. Here's planetary A, planet A assembly. Of course, that's directional, but look at this. There's a special little retainer here, and that upside down. That smooth surface lines up with this little needle bearing assembly down here. So that's how you orient planet A sun gear. And I'll set this aside. A and B. Now, all right, this is the CDF clutch drum assembly. We'll start off with the C clutch. We're tearing it down, okay? All right. Here's the pressure plate. Here's the clutches. Now, these don't have those spring-loaded, low drag separator, wavy springs. Here's the clutch assembly. Now, this clutch, if we look closely, looks like it's a regular steel plate at the very bottom. Okay, so it looks like they're all the same. The only one different, obviously, is the last, or the very top one, the pressure plate. So I'll just go and leave that upside down as a set. Okay. There's a snap ring that we're going to have to go compress, and there's the return springs in here. So let's go do that. Okay, to get this snap ring out, we've got our compressor all set up. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. How's that? Good. Go ahead and compress. And I'll see if I can get my trusty snap ring pliers. That's plenty far. Okay, let's go ahead and release. Oh, we sliced the seal. Okay. Now, here's the return springs. Sat like that. And we'll get some shop air and probably apply to this hole to drive out this piston. So we get this piston to come up. Wrong hole. Which is the next one down. Probably this one. There it comes. It started. Pair of needle nose is probably easier, but this is what's handiest right now. Right in there. Okay. And there's the apply piston. This is actually a balance piston that holds the return springs in place. And of course, there's the snap ring that we used. And that's all the more you can tear this apart, okay? Except other than, I guess, the seal rings. On this balance piston, there's a seal ring right there. It looks like it's a D-shaped ring. Okay, it's not round, it's flat. And then on the actual apply piston itself, there's another ring, okay? That one, there's a D ring. And this other ring, seal, I should say, inside here that goes around the housing, or the hub. Okay. All right. One inside here, too. Good sign, they'll rotate. Let's demonstrate how to check clutch clearances on the C clutch as well. Now, I'm going to use a screwdriver on this side so you can see it better. I'm just trying to push on the tooth of a friction and lift up the pressure plate at the same time. Okay. And I got 51 thousandths again here. I think this one's made a slight tighter. Oh, but it goes right in. Nope, it goes in. Still got some drag to it. Okay, so it's pretty close to 51. Okay. As far as an air check, I'm going to dial this in at about 45 psi. My regulator, let's see what it measures on the dial indicator. Pressure that better. Pretty close to 50 again. Slightly shy, maybe. Okay. The only reason I'm going to show this
again, this is D clutch,
is that this cupped piece goes down. It's got two little notches. I don't know that they're specifically perfect rotation, but this guy's got to go perfectly straight, and I've already started off wrong. It does go. Here it goes. But it's got perfect. That's not something I did. There it goes. It just fell in all the way. Now, you go ahead and stack your clutches. And the pressure plate, of course, on the end is of course, flat on the bottom side, stepped on the top side. Clutch clearance for this clutch. Now, we can do the feeler gauge method. I'm just going to get the pressure plate lifted up a little bit just so it's off a clutch disc. And try to get my feeler gauges in between it. Did a few moments ago. I got 51 thousandths here. And if I can just get my blade just to let that squeak in there. Of course, my gauge is going to come apart too. There we go. Now, once I get it in there, I can slide it around, and I got some drag. I can feel some drag, you know, it's not falling in and out. It's got a little drag to it. That's probably about right. I'm going to call it 50-51. Okay. Let's see how this compares to the air method. So I'm going to apply some air. I got to hold the opposite hole and apply about, I'm going to go 50 psi. And if I can keep my fingers out of the way. That's a full 50,000, so that's 0, and that's 50. Maybe you saw it better than I did, but it's a full 50. Let's focus on F, because this is the different one, okay? So the F clutch, there's actually 3 things I'm going to remove down inside here. Okay? And the first one, of course, is the first snap ring. I'll just call it the first snap ring, if I can get behind it. Almost there. Get underneath it better that way. There it goes. All right, that's the first snap ring. The next is a spacer, and there's no groove. Okay, and this just comes out. It's thick, and it's just a spacer, and you'll see why. And I'm trying to see if it's directional or not. I'm going to just keep it face up, irregardless. I don't know that it's directional, but it takes up space. And there's one more ring in here, and it too is a snap ring, and it snaps, or its groove is inside on this hub, where the first snap ring was out here on the actual drum. So I'll go ahead and dig out this next one. Okay, so there's the 3 rings, and this one overlaps. So you'll know the first one to go on that goes on this toothed hub overlaps. Okay, now the F clutch assembly itself just slides off. And here is, of course, the pressure plate and the clutches. And there's no wavy separator pieces on that. It looks like all the steels are the same thickness. So the only one that's different, again, is the first or the top one. I'll set that on top. Now, this actually comes apart. And this is kind of tricky. I know it's kind of weird. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of open it up a little bit. There's a couple of O-rings down here that need changing or replacing. I get a little bit further apart than I can get them. It's a custom punch. Okay.
There's one more snap ring to remove, and you will need a press to do this.
We've got to allow some clearance for the snap ring to come out of. And I think we'll be okay. It's far enough. It's not a very strong spring. That's the nice thing about it. Oh, I'm barely snagged over there. We'll probably be okay. Maybe not. Yeah. All right. With this little snap ring out of the way. return spring. Balance piston. This will be the apply piston. A balance piston, okay, helps minimize centrifugal force as it spins so fast that the clutches could possibly have some kind of engagement. Okay, so this is going to help isolate the apply piston from the clutches. It acts as kind of like a barrier. And again, that's why I call it a balanced piston. Alrighty, now that we've got the return springs and our balanced piston out of the way, we can get the, I'm going to dig out one seal ring here. It might allow this apply piston to be removed more easily. Okay, now let's blow this thing down. Choose the two middle holes. There we go. That is the F piston totally removed. There are two more D-ring or seals in here. Okay, they're flat. They're not round O-rings, they're flat. We call those D-rings. So I'm not going to put this third one on yet. Let's go ahead, say we cleaned this all up, right? And we can go ahead now and push the F piston back in place. Okay, that's how it should fall. Keeping this straight without getting it twisted is probably the most critical thing. Let's use this little pick to encourage that probably. Guess I had more of a fold than I realized. Okay, looks like we're in with no twists. Return spring, balance piston, has an O-ring as well, or D-ring, sorry. You would change that with a seal kit. Okay, maybe even more appropriately use the pressure plate with a solid piece to drive that home. Press it. Looks like it went in. Okay. This is just a ring goes on the outside of that. Maybe it'll push in better when I get the clutch all on. Well, most of one area. There. That's pretty much it. All right, let's go compress, get that snap ring back on. My fabricated tool.
The snap ring has been installed by using the press.
Okay, with this in place, we can go ahead. Stack the clutches. clutch clearance on this, which we can only do with a feeler gauge. Should be somewhere around 48, 60, 62, something like that. Okay. First snap, bring the overlap one, right? And that's touches or contacts the inner hub. Okay. This next one is just a spacer. It just sits inside of there. That's all it does. There's no groove for it. It just sits inside. And this last snap ring keeps the keeper in place, but it expands out and has a groove out on the pressure plate. We'll space it over there. Okay. Good. Feeler gauges. Go back to my addition skills here. So if I grab a 26 and a 20, let's say, there's 46 thousandths. If I can get between something here. I can easily get in there. Well, not easily. There's some drag to it. I'll bet I'll be pretty close to 48. So that was 46. There's 50, 51 again. Oh, that seems to be the magic number today. Somewhere around 50, 51. That's got some good drag to it. Okay, F clutch. The CD F clutch assembly is all installed.